Hello again. This time I'm coming to you with scheduling, or at least maybe helping you with some ideas of how to do it. Okay. Um, First thing that comes to mind, you do one dog at a time. That's pretty easy to schedule that. It's it's where you start overlapping your dogs is where a lot of people start to get into some problems, or they need to do more dogs in a day in order to make their daily goal, um, in the still the same amount of hours. So this is where you learn time management, and this is where you really need to know how long it takes you to groom a dog on average. Okay, for me, most grooms, small to medium, depending on what the medium is, I can do it in about an hour and a half. Um, a lot of times I just book those medium dogs for 2 hours just to cover my butt, because when it's a cocker and it's raining outside and you can't dry it, yeah, you need that extra half an hour. But what I have for you is, even for some of those people with salons, okay, and you have a bather, or you're thinking about introducing a bather into the mix, and you want to have enough dogs, one, to cover their wage, and two, you don't want to hire a bather and then have them standing around doing nothing, right? Okay, this is going to keep them busy and you busy and everybody busy. So what I'm about to do is I'll switch. Some of these I already have pre-done, but I'm going to go through and show you when people call me on how, when they want to book their dog. I always ask, how big are they? I want to know. I always ask, how much do they weigh? I want to know the client's perspective as to how much they think the dog weighs. That's kind of roughly the quote that I'm going to give them, because sometimes clients have absolutely no clue how much their dog weighs. But then you as a groomer should have an idea of how big the dog is. For it's a Shih Tzu Maltese, you would really hope it's not over 10 kilos. Cockers, usually they're over 10 kilos. And so on. Okay, you have a ballpark idea of how most dogs should weigh. So you would have a rough estimate time as to how long you take to groom those dogs. So that's another thing. This is why I suggest you work those out. And again, I just did a video on how many dogs can you do in a day. So this is again where you would work out your happy hours and how many dogs or what type of dogs can you fit in to that time. So this is where it becomes a little bit more of a puzzle. Okay, guys, it's not, in a perfect world, you just have them one right after another, boom, 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 and your day is good. That is generally how I do most of my dogs anyways. There are days where it's just so many people want in, and you're going, oh, I really need the money, I want this extra, I want to get a new table, so you're working towards saving, and so you need to throw an extra dog in, and you got to figure out, well, where can I fit this dog? Okay, so for your mobile people, okay, I understand most of you groom a dog in an hour and maybe give yourself 15 minutes or 30 minutes to drive to the next one. That's still an hour and a half. Okay, if that's what you're doing, you still book those dogs accordingly, and however many times. So I'm going to jump this page over just to quickly explain. This is not how I book the dogs. I'm showing this so you can visually see the time slots. Okay, this is so that you can see the time slots and know roughly where and how to fit the dogs in, because this is going to take some training on your part. Okay, you need to learn how to book dogs. So when you have a bather that comes in, you kind of have to train them how to book dogs if they're going to be answering the phone and booking. Most of the time your salon people will have that, because the bather plays / receptionist and checkout person as well. So I've also got you guys covered on that one further down a little bit of the line. So bear with me. We're going to turn this around, and okay, so pretty much have a blank page. Currently, the way that I work right now, okay, I work Start at 9 o'clock. We're going to switch pins. So I start at 9 o'clock, and my first dog, say it's just a bath. Okay? Should have it done in about an hour. So that's 1 hour. The next dog would be at 10. So obviously, and that one's a small groom dog. So it takes me an hour and a half. Okay? And then, say the next dog comes and it's another small dog. An hour and a half. Groom. And then we have another dog that's coming in. That's a big dog. So it's going to take 2 hours. So again, you see that I'm just kind of walking down the road and working out. And I like to work to about 4:30. So that's usually what time I will close, is at 4:30. So I want to be done with my last dog at that time. Now, you can take in either another small dog groom, because you got an hour and a half before you close, or you can take in a little tiny Chihuahua bath or a little Daki bath. That's 30 minutes, and you have time to fit in another bath. Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dogs for the day, not 5. So you can see where you would manage your time. And this is just one dog, one right after another. So you have to be done with one dog as that dog is coming in, because you don't. I mean, if you have kennels to go and put them in, that's fine. But what I'm saying is you want to be done with one dog when the other dog is coming in. So that's one way of working. And so when you're booking your dogs, you need to be aware of how long it roughly takes you to do that dog. You're always better. See, now I estimate on the high side as to how long a dog will take me. This dog might not even take me 2 hours. But what happens if it does? I don't want to be running into this little dog and it's sitting here, and then you start to run late when you start bumping them back. Okay? Now, I'm going to move this over to another blank sheet. And, you know, when you start introducing a bather into the mix, you sometimes wonder, how do you do that? Because if you have a bather in this situation, okay, they're going to wash the dog. You would hope they have the dog done in about 30 minutes out of the bathtub and at least starting to dry it. And then you might either take over, but then your bather is going to stand around doing nothing. That person has nothing to do. So this is another situation, okay? So say we have a big dog. It books in first thing in the morning, okay? So 9 o'clock, that first dog comes in. Your bather should have that dog done and out of the bathtub in an hour. Okay, I know that I will take up to 30 minutes to wash a big dog just because I want them really super clean. D-sheds, maybe 45 minutes is how long it would take me. Sometimes even an hour. Okay, and then that last hour is just drying the dog. Or this might be a big golden poodle type thing that, you know, we've got to wash and dry, and it might take even a little longer. But this is where when you start to introduce, this works for one person, okay? It's really hard to overlap your dogs when it's only one person doing it all. I have done it. It's not easy, okay? Trust me. You need to have some very, very good dogs to have them that close together, especially in my trailer. And you need to have some pretty patient clients that don't care how long you tend to have the dogs. But say this dog takes an hour to wash. Okay, so your bather is in there washing. So this is with a bather. Okay, a bather and one groomer. You'd book that next dog an hour after that dog. So when that dog comes in, you have about an hour of dead time. That gives you time to make phone calls, do your reminders, do your morning stuff. Okay, as a groomer. Okay, when you're the boss, you can do that. So this one is a little tiny small dog. So your bather is over there doing this dog. It's now out of the bath by the time this one comes in. So you take over this dog and start doing whatever grooming you're going to do. and she starts washing this dog. Okay, again, she should be done with it in about an hour or in 30 minutes. It's a small dog, right? So you simply, and you're done with this dog by the time she's done with this one. So she'll be drying this one until here. You only need about 30 minutes to groom it. But here's where she has nothing to do. This one's already gone home. She's checked that one out. You take another dog in, and it might be another big dog. Okay, and you get the picture. You need to think about how long it takes. And, you know, when you have two dogs that happen to come in at the same time, okay, you can literally stack them in a little bit closer together. Now, those are big dogs, I'm saying. But you can overlap your dogs a little bit easier when you have a bather with you, okay? Now, this is another way of, sorry, don't want to show you all of that. This is another way that if they're all groomed dogs and they were all small dogs, okay, ideally, okay, this is how you can roughly figure out your timing when you go to put down your dates. Like, as you can see, my books are quite full, and I just have the times next to them and right in the slots. So you usually want to have some rough ideas of time-wise. Ideally, you have your grooms. So these are all grooms. This is a puzzle. Okay, when you start doing it this way, it's a puzzle. And don't get me wrong, booking your books every day is a puzzle. But this gets you, if you're going to introduce a bather, you want that bather to actually work for you so that you can do more dogs. So in this sense, like on the weekends when I have my bather with me, or I have my assistant, whichever you want to call it, because she's going to learn to groom eventually. This is the way I currently set my books up. So starting at 8 o'clock, I got a small dog coming in. She's going to wash that dog and have it somewhat dry. I'm going to check this dog in. As soon as this dog's checked in, I'm going to jump over to this one and take over. And she's going to jump over and do this one. Again, I'll start doing this one. She'll have this one washed and dried by the time I'm done with this one. So then I should jump over and start washing this one. She's going to have a few minutes of a dead time, so she gets her break, in so to speak, a 30-minute lunch break, or she can clean up or do whatever it is that she's going to do, okay? And then I'm going to be done with this one and check in another dog. This is if your bather does not know how to check in dogs, okay? This is so she just keeps going. She has a little bit of a break. You don't overwork her. And I say her. There's plenty of male bathers. I've actually sometimes prefer them. They're big and strong, so they can help pick up those bigger dogs. If you have a bather that can check in dogs, okay, and she kind of knows what she's doing when she's checking them out, you can literally book them just like this. So, and you sort of get the idea, okay? I'm just showing this to you guys as just you and a bather, and you having to check in and check out kind of thing. 6 dogs or 8 dogs is about all you can do, okay? And again, this is ideally small little hour-and-a-half dogs. And again, ideally, these are just working on numbers so that you have an idea of how many dogs can you squeeze in the book when you have a bather with you, okay? And see this next one, because I expect I should be done with this one. This is so that I can come over here and check in this one for her, basically. Jump over to this and she can start washing that one. Okay, so you get the idea. This is when you start adding a bather to the mix. This is ideally how you want to do it by yourself. Now, I'm going to turn the page and try to cover some of this up, because again, I don't want you looking too far ahead and seeing too much. Okay, now this is another way that somebody can work by themselves. Okay, a bather could also do this one as well. So again, we're ideally thinking and figuring small dogs, bath dogs kind of thing. So starting, so to speak, at 8, we have the first dog that comes in. I should be able to get that one washed. And in theory, okay, you think about it, you should have that dog washed in 15 minutes and starting to halfway dry it. So you stop for a few minutes to check in this one. Usually I will throw it into the tub, wash that too, okay? Again, I only would book, these are bath dogs, okay? These are all bath dogs. So I'm expecting them to be an hour or less in those time slots. And these are all grooms. I would pretty much book that dog, have that dog washed and dried most of the way before the next dog comes in. So you do have to walk away from this dog. You either put it on the table or put it in a cage, or you put it on your table so that it's good enough. I mean, you really don't want to leave that dog unattended, so usually it just goes into a kennel. Check that dog in. I will simply throw it in the bath and wash it. And because I'm planning on this being a short-haired dog, like a little Chihuahua, short-haired Dachshund, maybe a Shih Tzu I shaved down a few weeks ago, I'm going to wash that dog and put it into a kennel to start air drying. Okay, either air drying or put a fan on it. And then I'm going to come back over here and start working on this dog. Get that one done. Come over here, finish this one, get it out because it should be dry in at least 30 to 45 minutes. Do its toenails, do whatever else I need to do, and both those dogs are going home at the same time. And then I got another groom dog coming in, so I start there. So this is when, again, you're by yourself and you want to take in more dogs. So this is just another idea, okay? Remember, these are ideas of how to schedule dogs for yourself. Okay, so you can take in about 10 dogs. And again, ideally, you would hope that this is all going to go to plan. Sometimes it doesn't. You do 5 groom dogs and 5 bath dogs. That's a very big day for one person. Okay, you can throw a groomer or a bather into this position as well. So if you're just starting out, all you do is normally book one right after another for yourself. Say you have a brand new bather, this is probably another way I would do it, because the bather can stand there, watch you groom or watch you wash that dog, and actually you can start talking and explaining how you're drying and what you're doing. And then this dog comes in, and it's a short-haired dog, because this is what I have planned. Okay, I only put short-haired dogs over here. Groom dogs or dogs that have more than one hair on them would be over here. You let your bather wash that dog. Well, how hard can it be to wash a little Chihuahua kind of thing? They should be able to do that. They can sit and dry that whole entire dog while you're over here doing this one. And then you finish this one. Usually you have a few minutes left. You can jump over here and do the toenails or do whatever, because this is a brand new bather. Okay, never done anything before. So this is also a good training day as well. So you can throw a couple extra dogs in for that. So either by yourself or with a bather, a brand new bather. Now this is a salon. This is another way. Okay, I have worked in a salon like this, where it's one groomer and one bather. Okay, I was the bather at that time, not the groomer. And she would book in 4 dogs at a time in 1 hour. So literally everybody was coming in at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then we had 3 hours to do those 4 dogs. And usually these 2 were bath dogs and these 2 were groom dogs. And I had to wash and groom all these. I had to wash all these dogs and dry all these dogs and totally get them prepped and ready to go onto her table. She didn't wash or dry anything. So my job when I was doing this particular one, I washed a dog. I washed the first groom dog basically, put it in a kennel to start air drying. Came back over here, washed this dog, and went and put that one in a kennel to start drying. And then I walked over here, washed a bath dog, and again, these were most of the time only short-haired dogs, washed it, put it in a kennel to start air drying, and I came back over here to the groom dog that way first washed, and then started washing that dog, or I'd pull it out, dry it, cut the toenails, because that was my job, and then I would put it on her table, come over here, wash this dog real quick, because I had a few minutes, this one wasn't going to take very long to dry. I washed and put that one in a kennel to dry. And then I had this one finished drying, brushed, toenails, and ready for her, either to pop back onto her table, or I simply put it back in the kennel waiting for her. And then I would finish this dog and finish that dog, usually all by the time the next lot of dogs were going to come in. So this is another way you can book dogs in. And again, this one was 12 dogs in the day. And this is, you got to have a really good bather that knows how to brush out dogs and cut toenails and do everything if this is how you want to work. Now, granted, you could probably tag team these and have you washing a dog and her washing a dog. You wash your groom dog and she washes her bath dogs. And you can still get done pretty quick, because you should be able to groom 2 dogs in a 3-hour slot pretty easily. And so this was, like I said, this is how she worked. This is me as a bather when I did this. And then usually I had enough time. I was checking in and checking out while she was finishing doing whatever she was doing. And this is all we did, was 12 dogs a day. Now, I'm going to show you when I had my big salon going in the States, and I had 2 bathers. I had a junior bather and I had a senior bather. My junior bather was usually the newbie, the first timer. She's getting introduced to everything. My senior bather is that person that is going to get ready to step up and do grooming. Okay, so she's already done the junior bather spot, and she's doing some face, feet, and tails, and some shave downs and things like that. So this was when I was full on big salon going. I had not only me as a groomer, but I had like 3 or 4 other groomers that worked in there. I had my 2 bathers and a receptionist every once in a while. So there was like 7 or 8 of us in this salon, and it was a very, very busy salon. So pretty much I had 3 dogs that would come in every hour. Okay, every hour I had dogs coming in. I had 2 groom dogs and a bath dog. So pretty much my senior bather was more in charge of my groom dogs because she knew how particular I was, and my junior bather was just simply bath dogs. You couldn't go wrong with a small short-haired dog when you're just getting introduced into this as a bather. Okay, and so my senior groomer would do, my senior bather, would do the 2 dogs and have a dog on my table. I wanted a dog on my table at least by 9:30, 10 o'clock, because I wasn't usually here. I used that morning time to go do my morning errands. My bathers came in and opened and set up, because this is also, you want your bathers to know how to check in and check out. Or I also had a receptionist that did that. So I didn't have to stop what I was doing, because as you can see, I mean, I had 2 groom dogs coming in every hour. I needed to keep working and moving my butt. So ideally it took about 30 to 45 minutes for me to groom a dog. Here's my first 30 minutes, because I wanted that first dog by 9 o'clock, 9:30. And then this second dog should be washed and fully dried and ready for me to groom in this spot. Okay. And the bath dog, I didn't touch bath dogs. That was my junior bather and my senior bather's jobs to finish and do them. And again, you want to have a really good senior bather that knows what's going on, knows what they're doing, in order for this kind of scheduling to work. Okay. And if, say, I had a really big dog, so we're talking a standard poodle, golden doodle, something like that I was grooming, one big dog in my books took 2 small dogs. So we didn't even, if it was a big dog, it just was one big dog in that spot. And that way I had at least an hour to groom that dog. So you can see how your different scheduling, you can do different dogs. You have different reasonings for doing your scheduling the way you are. Because I would stop taking dogs, I think it's usually around, 4:30. This gave me enough time, my girls, to clean up. I was usually still grooming at this point, okay? In those time slots, I still was grooming these dogs. That gave me enough time to clean up, do my paperwork, all before we closed, and have all the dogs picked up by a certain time. So, again, these are pretty much what I've showed you are different ways of thinking about scheduling. Okay, they're just ideas. If you've got some ideas on scheduling to throw out there to maybe help somebody work it out, because when you first get into this, you most of the time you have no clue. And yes, most of the time we all just go one right after another, one dog, and that's superb. That's great. Don't worry about trying to do all this other stuff. I mean, what I just showed you with adding a bather and having a senior and junior bather and things like that, those are like your big salons, in your big areas. I will probably never get to that point ever again in my life. If I get to that point in my life in a rural country town, I don't know. I like to have I like to have a life. We all want to work less and live more. We don't want to work more and live less. So when you start adding a bather and stuff like that, you start having to think about wages. You do have to do more dogs in order to cover their wages. So, and when you have more dogs coming in an hour, your hourly rate may not be as much per dog as it would be for me doing it by myself. Okay, your hourly rate for, I'm just going to throw a number out there. Might be, say you need to make $80 an hour. Okay, you as a salon need to make, each dog needs to make $80 an hour. You can't charge $80 an hour to do a dog, realistically. Okay, that's a lot of money for some people, and I'm not sure that we're going to have too many people able to pay for that. So you start taking 2 dogs in at a time. Okay, that's where you start, and then you split that. So each dog maybe is $50 an hour. Okay, instead of being $80, you put it $40. You're actually going to make $20 more an hour than you would, than what you would in doing them one at a time at $80 an hour. Am I making sense, guys? But when you're doing that, you would definitely want to have a bather, so that extra $20 an hour is going to cover their wage. Do you see how that works? So that when you start working out how you need to have, if you want to have more dogs, or you're that busy and you need a bather and you have that many dogs to do and you need to add a bather in, you might need to rework your prices out again so that you can pay for that other person. If not, you just start doing 2 dogs an hour or 2 dogs each time slot. Okay, and again, these were only ideas. Okay, they are all places I've worked at, I've done myself. They're tried and true. That last one with me having the 2 bathers and a groomer, don't get me wrong, those are full on days. Those were hard, long hours. There was very little room for error. Okay, you get stuck on a phone call for longer than 5 minutes and you were behind most of the day and you were fighting to catch up. But again, with that little section right there, you saw that's 24 dogs in a day. That's what I should be doing in a week. I used to do what I did in a week in a day. And I'll tell you what, I don't miss those days at all. I am happy doing my 5 or 6 dogs a day, and having a life. Okay, because also you start doing the days like that, you'll burn out. Okay. The other thing that I can suggest to you guys is to take it easy. Don't kill yourself trying to cram all these dogs in, because you're just gonna burn yourselves out. Okay, these grooming scheduling things, like, again, are just ideas to throw at you. One, showing you how I schedule dogs. Okay, 2, showing you ideally how you would maybe overlap dogs if you were going to be by yourself. That was like you groom and bath dog. And we don't always get groom and bath dogs kind of booking in at the same time. Most of us, when we start out, just have groom dogs. We rarely have bath dogs. But you work towards that, okay? Start off one dog at a time. Then you might be able to do that one where I showed you you're grooming by yourself and you want to throw in a bath dog. That's a way of making that little extra money that you need to make in that day and not totally throw yourself out of whack. And all of these work either for, well, not all of them, but most of these all work for your salon bookings, whether you're by yourself or got more people working underneath you, or you have just by yourself, okay? Most of us all work by ourselves, and I was just pretty much wanting to show you guys different ideas of what you could or couldn't do. And when you're working out, you got that magic total number that you need to make a day, you can roughly figure out your dogs that you can squeeze in, okay? I showed you how I usually schedule my dogs. I usually just have the time slot in there. I don't have a big planner. They've got planners like this. So if you need to do this for the beginning and mentally plan out going, okay, this is going to be the hour and a half block time. I don't want to put any dogs in that spot, and you can color it in or put the person's name, or that part you get to be creative on your part. I have a sheet that's just basically a bunch of lines and I write the number in there. So I mentally have to figure out going, okay, that dog takes me an hour and a half. The next time that I can take right after that dog is 12 o'clock. And then say that one's a 2-hour dog, so I need to know that I can book that dog out until 2 o'clock kind of thing. So I can do the math in my head pretty quick and just book dogs like that. And again, working out how long roughly it takes you to groom a dog compared to what it takes to book, okay? Because you might get to the point where you have 3 big dogs and you don't have room to put another small dog unless you want to work longer hours, okay? Like I said, nothing's perfect. This is just in a little happy world that you would literally book it and you're done at 5 o'clock or done at 6 o'clock. We all have those plans. My husband has learned never to make plans after work because I might say I'm going to be done at 5 o'clock and I'm pulling in and pulling out at 7 because I took too long. Something happened. I had a dog fight me a whole lot more. Who knows? The dog that came in that said that wasn't matted is matted, and you're shitting yourself going, this is going to take me longer now. And stuff happens. So ideally, these are just different ways of booking. I'm going to let you guys go because I got to go cook dinner now. And we'll see you guys later. Keep inviting your friends. Keep liking and commenting on these videos. Tell me if I'm doing a good job. If there's something else out there that you want to know some more on. And also don't be afraid to ask me, okay? Message me privately if you want, and we can work something out that works for you, okay? Or I can help you explain this a little bit more if you have any questions. So I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to go cook dinner, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.